Okay. You're trying. Okay, thank you. Good evening. Um, it's a pleasure to be here, and I hope we'll be able to pick up a thing or two from what I have to say. I'll try as much as possible not to bore you with too many words, but at the same time, I'll make sure I'm able to strike my points. So we'll be talking about 5 errors that men make in relationships, and I always would like to do. I always like to set the background before I begin to talk, and my background today is for us to be able to look at the general concept of relationship, looking at the fact that we are relationship beings. We are individuals that require relationships to be able to flourish, to be able to prosper, to be able to do all the things we have to do and all the things that God has created us to do. And when it comes to relationships that are committal, which most of the time tend towards the boyfriend girlfriend relationship and the marriage relationships, there are some errors that over time have been reoccurring that I think are possible for us to avoid. First of all, by noticing that they exist, then now looking for ways to live beyond them. And my point one, which is very classy, is the fact that the Bible said that we should love who we marry, not marry who we love, which means that the concept of love is secondary in relationships. Why? Because it is a discovery, it is a period of getting to know yourselves. And the usual illustration I use is the fact that you don't choose your family, you don't choose your first classmates, you don't choose your first teachers in life. Why? Because you adapt to who they are, because you see them as a necessary part of your future. That is the same way a relationship is built. The people that come in contact with you do not come into your life by accident. So when they come in, you try to discover for yourself how best to be able to live with them, manage their weaknesses, endure and enjoy their strengths, and synergize to be able to build a solid future. So it's not a period of discovering perfection or saying, this is kind of person I want, simply because you think the person exudes the kind of perfect life you have scripted. But it's more about the fact that this person is on the path that you are headed, and both of you can work together to get it right. So where love comes into play is because you need love to be able to manage the person's weaknesses and chisel them into strengths. You need love to become the person's backbone and strength and rock to be able to help the person become a better person. You need love to be able to even bring yourself down to overlook your weaknesses so that you can manage a fusion together. Because we always have to wake up to the fact that anger is a weakness, temper is a weakness, loose tongue is a weakness, wrong relationship is a weakness. So these things exist as weaknesses. So we need to be able to sit down and ask ourselves, how far? What's the plan? How do we make this work? Furthermore, we also need to look at the fact that in this life, there are issues that people come in contact with, which are the fact that Not everybody has the perfect training at home to be able to get it right. Everybody has the perfect training at home to be the kind of person you dream them to be. But because life has happened, you now need to be able to understand that love helps us build it. So don't I love the person and she now broke my heart. It is about making it work first, then now using love to cement it. Love is a binder. Love is a builder. Love is not a discoverer. Now, secondly, you see people that go into relationships for the sake of sex. I like the way she looks. She has it everywhere. She's very sexy. She's very sexy. And most of the time, that's even what makes a lot of people fall into the traps of premarital pregnancies and unplanned things. So you don't go into a relationship because of sex. Sex, let me tell you how bad, let me tell you how serious it is. There's a period in marriage you get to, you find out that what massages the relationship is not sex. Because at that moment, sex is not even enough to bind you.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
you have to wake up to and tell yourself the truth from the beginning. That it's not about sex. Sex is secondary. Sex will happen, yes, but sex is not what makes the marriage or a relationship work. So when you're stepping into a relationship, sex can even be learned because you see scenarios where you have some couples that didn't know anything about a good sexual life, but suddenly they got married and they had to start learning. So it is not about who knows it best or who has the experience, experts. Mm-mm. It's about making up your mind that this relationship would work, sex or not. And let me tell you how beautiful life is. Sometimes just discussing with your wife, doing a pillow fight with your wife or your relationship partner, just strolling together, hands together, can be more romantic than a sexual life. So we need to be able to understand that the sex part is just an act that lasts for a short moment and is gone. It's not enough to be able to keep a relationship. So never go into a relationship for the sake of sex. And don't go into a relationship because the sex is sweet. Thirdly, people get into relationships because they are looking for duty partners who will clean my house, who will wash my clothes, who will take care of my kids. Your wife is not created to be your housekeeper. Rather, your wife was created for both of you to work together to build a home. So you should be able to ask yourself, what are you bringing into this homemaking relationship? It is not a crime for a man to be able to sweep his house. It's not a crime for a man to be able to do the arrangement while someone else does the sweeping and mopping. It's not a crime for a man to scrub the restroom. It's not a crime for the man to wash the plates. The most important thing is both of you coming together to make it work. If both of you come together to make it work, you're going to be able to have something that has harmony. I learned early in my relationship, in my marriage, that if we work together, I ease her stress. And the more of her stress I ease off, the more I have peace to be able to have her. So it is more of helping her to be happy. Once she's happy and she's relaxed, we have a good home. Once she's under tension, I'm under tension. So it's what you feed the relationship with that comes back. So you have to be able to tell yourself, this relationship we are going into, it's not about, she came to my house, she didn't cook for me. For crying out loud, it's not a crime. When she comes back home, you prepare a very nice meal and tell her dinner is served. If you can, do it. There are no rules, there are no hard rules around it. Let's not let tradition and custom and the things that have gone wrong in the days back wreck the things that can happen and will be beautiful in the future. Then the fourth thing, which is very, very important, is that there are no stereotypes. Don't get into a relationship because this is how my friend's relationship is. That is how your friend's relationship is doesn't automatically mean that is how your own will be. Do you understand? Don't go to your neighbor's house and say, when I went to their house, their love was so sweet. Our own is not like that. Look for how your own is. Because if you check it, your neighbor doesn't do the job you do. Your neighbor's wife doesn't do what your wife does. They don't go to the same places you go to. Even when they pray to God, you don't say it in the same words. So you need to understand that there are no stereotypes. So because they are different and you are different, that is the same way your relationship would be different from their own. Important thing is in your relationship and in your own field, make it work. Find out where your strengths are. Find out where your kind of harmony is. Your friend loves action films and he watches action films with his wife. Your wife likes Telemundo. Find a way to make it work. You love soccer. She is learning how to do soccer with you. Fine. But the most important thing is look for a place that both of you can make it work instead of constantly fighting. Because if you check it out, most fights escalated simply because the time it was simple, nobody made a move to be able to make it work. So we need to just be able to tell ourselves that truth and own up to it, that this life is not static. This life is not rigid. So in the way we live our lives, we should be able to make it something that we can manage, something that we can anchor on. So this is the way my father and my mother were. That is not the way you will be. Tell yourself, this is the way I want mine to be, and walk towards it. Discuss with her. Both of you should discuss it together. Both of you should dream it together. Have a vision board for your own home. Have a vision board for your own relationship. Yeah. Yes. So when you do that, you find out that it is easy for you. Why? Because both of you are now aligned together in this particular part. The errors you saw yesterday, you can fix them. I believe in one thing. People tell me experience is the best teacher. I don't believe it. Experience is a good teacher if you can learn from other people's experiences. Do you understand? So it's a good teacher. Why? Because people have their experiences. You look at them, find the way that it worked right, find the ways it didn't work right, avoid the ways it didn't work right, and pick up the ones that you can pick up that can help you. That's why sometimes you go to some churches and someone preaches a message that they preach the message and it is a message. Most of the time, you also have to sit down and ask yourself, in relation to the Bible, how does it affect my relationship? And at the same time, there are no hard rules around it. Like it was preached doesn't automatically make it right, and at the same time doesn't make it wrong. So hold on to the fact that there are no stereotypes in relationships. Number five, which is the one I will always hold dearly, is the fact that God has made you in his own image and his own likeness, which means that you being the husbandman, you are the God replacement for that relationship and for that marriage. Do you understand? And if you are the husbandman for that relationship and for that marriage, you need to build a stronger relationship with God that you can exemplify and live with in your home. Why? Because it's how you and God are that you will reflect in your home. If you see God as a judgment God, you will be a judge in your house. If you see God as a father and a loving father, you will be a loving father in your house. If there's something that my father used to tell me, my father said, he that has been forgiven much knows how to forgive. So if you've been able to walk with God in light of mercy and grace and favor and righteousness, you find out that you are able to manage the excesses, the weaknesses, and the shortcomings that you witness in your own relationships. But the issue there is that it is not about the person, it's about you. Why? Because if you do it right with God, you are able to manage it right with the person. Offense only comes when you give room for it. If you don't give room for offense, offense will take off. Do you understand? So if you want to give yourself, tell yourself, I don't like this, this is what I don't want, you will constantly find out that those are the places where the persons will falter. So build a stronger relationship with God. Have a better understanding of God unto godliness. Excuse me. Then manage your home, manage your relationship with the reflection of how God is with you, not how your friends told you to manage it, not how your father said, not how people think you should, but how God relates with you. So with those 5 points, I think I've been able to highlight some little errors that we make in our relationships and how we can fix them.
Thank you very much, sir. It's wonderful, and I believe it has helped to be helping a lot of people what you later recommend, what you benefit. So I'll ask two questions and like to answer. So the first question is this: women believe that men are egocentric, that people like saying sorry, or when they have to fix something, instead of saying sorry or apologizing as no wrong, no wrong, just immediately they are working. Why do they find it difficult to say sorry in a relationship, either in courtship or in marriage? Why? Is that
I
something?
think for me, oh, I think it's all about choice. But I think it's priorities because a lot of people think that being a man in a family, being a man in a home, is about responsibilities alone. But I don't think so. I think being a man in a family is about being an object of affection. Why? Because if you don't talk to your kids are disconnected from you. If you don't talk with your wife is distant from you. So you should be able to create room to be able to change the atmosphere once in a while. For me, I have told my wife that we don't have a birthday celebration calendar. Why? Because I don't want a scenario where if it happens on a particular birthday and things are not as good as we want them, nothing will happen. So what I try to do is create multiple moments where it is fun, it's love, it is nice, so that you just get used to the fact that it happens. You understand? It's a continuous thing. So you don't have special days, you don't have Valentine's Day, you don't have this particular day, but you make every day special so that you don't have to lock yourself into a box or a tradition that one day when it doesn't happen, it now looks like he abandoned me on this day, he did not abandon me on the other day. Do you understand? But at the same time, I think it's important to be able to once in a while take a walk together, once in a while go to the mall together, once in a while watch a movie together. Once in a while, you could just go, even if you don't want to eat in the place, sit down there, then buy it and take home. But the concept is learn to be able to create moments for both of you, then create moments for you and the kids, because what your kids watch you do becomes what they look forward to. So it's an experience creation thing, and I think every couple needs to be conscious of creating experiences for themselves and for their kids. Why? Because if you even check it out, on your wedding day, the only thing you remember more than every other thing are the pictures you saw after the wedding.
Exactly.
So those pictures are the things you create with these moments. Why? Because in years after, is those moments that both of you will cherish. The challenges that happen in between are not always going to be remembered. The things that went wrong in between are not always going to be remembered. There are some that you would choose not to remember. But those special moments are moments that you will keep and keep recreating.
Thank you very much. In fact, this has answered the other questions I'll be asking. I was about to ask why do married men forget the birthday of their wives? But actually, you've answered those questions altogether. Like, we know
Okay.
that every moment is not only
Yeah.
have nice time together, even when we are not celebrating Valentine or his birthday, or we can actually have beautiful moments together, which you already answered. Then the one you answered, which is the one we ran up there, I said, why is it difficult for men to say sorry? Okay, then when they do something wrong and their wife is trying to pinpoint it before it, instead of saying sorry, they like to put down the rug, maybe giving something in return or sweep down the rug. I don't know why is it that they find it difficult, or should we say why? Why is it that they find it difficult to say sorry?
That's an individual fault, and it comes from two places. It comes from a place of pride, and it comes from a place of arrogance. I think everybody who wants to be humble and everybody who wants to learn should be able to accept their faults and apologize for them. because it's not about being the man. Sometimes you even say sorry when you are right. Why? Because you are interested in peace. So, do you understand? So it's an individual thing, and it's something every man needs to learn to train himself to live into. Do you understand? So it's an individual thing. Even
very
amongst your
important.
friends, you need to be able to
I
build it and all that. Yeah.
also understand that it can be a temperament issue. Everybody's learning from so we have that kind of community, we have to react to things. And that's why we have to understand the kind of temperament our spouses are so we'll be able to relate to them better. But we really appreciate your time today. It's been wonderful having a nice time with you. We like to chat. We pray that God will bless you every of your heart desires, everything you hear and
Amen.
shall be fulfilled. Pray that
Amen.
this will be the end that prosper us and take us to that ground we are aspiring to get in Jesus' name. And
Thank
we
you.
always place you to honor and God will continually use us in Jesus' name. Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
so much.
very
I'm
much for
grateful.
honoring
All right then.
God bless you. Bye bye.
Bye.